here's what we got going on. Kind of got out here early this morning. Not really early, but got some stuff done, just a little bit. Kind of boring stuff. I just fixed the floor. I think I put 5 panels, little panels in there, nothing major. It's just it was just little stainless steel stripping we had sitting around, nothing major. Some of it was some little galvanized stuff that bends to the floor real nice, but you see over there, it's bent to the floor. I did put some seam sealer underneath it. You know, it should harden up and not let any water through. Put that panel in down there. I put a panel back there, but you can't really tell. So I put it back here, screwed it in. It's too thin really to weld, and my welder's broke right now, so some screws will work. And if I get underneath it and I see an issue where the screw is, I'll just grind the head off or break the head off of the screw, no big deal. But I think we're going to be pretty set. So I'm going to get this floor vacuumed out again, and then I got to get that engine out. Once I get that engine out, engine trans out, I'm going to do all the painting today. So it's just going to be paint day, I guess you can call it. I'm going to try to get the whole engine bay, the whole frame knocked out. I'm going to try to take the tires off. I'm going to try to do the inner fender wells just to get some paint on it. I'll probably do the trunk. So we got to run to town. We got to grab some paint. I'm going to see if I can find that POR 15, and if it's not too expensive, maybe I'll get it, but it might just come down to getting some Rust-Oleum. I've had some pretty good luck with Rust-Oleum. I mean, hell, I use Rust-Oleum primer, I use Rust-Oleum everything. I like it because it dries within, you know, 25 to 30 minutes roughly, depending on how thick you put it on, and it's good forever. I mean, that's what all my trucks, frame rails, everything has that on it. My El Camino, even, everything has Rust-Oleum on it. I cake everything. It works pretty good. It's $5 a can from Rural King or Orscheln's, you know, so that's all Rust-Oleum. I mean, it flakes off every once in a while, but it's $5. You grab another can, you put another coat on it. So that's what I usually do. Basically, it's flaking off because I am lazy and I do not, you know, go the full 100% on the frame rail. You know, I don't just take it down to bare metal, prime it, paint it. You're lucky if I take my hand and a wire wheel to it, a wire brush or a wire wheel on a drill. You know, I don't, it's just gonna flake off again. Not everything lasts forever. Yes, I mean, I'm not even gonna say it, you know, you gotta pull it back out, no big deal. Touch it up, put some paint on it. So we are gonna get this painted. I'm not too worried about those holes right there just yet, because I was thinking earlier, let me put a patch panel on that, let me put a patch panel on that, and then I was looking, I ain't gonna do us a damn bit of good with all that there. So I can't put a patch panel that far on it, and we don't have enough time nor money, nor do I have the patience to fix all that so the trunk don't get wet, you know. So might be worth, you know, making a little something on the edge there to keep the water out if we were going to put stuff back here that's important and that needs to be dry. Or just put a little tarp down or something, put your bags in it, cover their bags up, or whatever we plan on doing with it. I don't think it's going to be a problem right now. I think that's a later problem. That's future Brendan and JT problems. So that's probably what'll happen. But I'm going to try to get everything painted. It's going to be a pretty boring day of just painting. Probably a lot of time lapse, not a lot of talking. So I am going to get this out, trans out, cross member out, paint the cross member. I mean, everything's getting painted. We're going to take the flywheel and clutch out of this car, put it in that trans, get everything set back in there, hopefully for good. Hopefully, probably not, but if we get it set in there. And then I slacked this week big time. We had the local fair going on, got some film from that for you guys for one of the events that we competed in, and I'm going to get this fixed. Like I said, I was supposed to do that last week, but we're slacking. I'll get it knocked out. I believe in myself, I guess. Hopefully you guys do too. But I will get this thing knocked out and we'll go from there. I don't think it's going to be too hard. I think if I spend, you know, 2 or 3 solid nights on it during the week, I should be able to knock it out. Once that's on there, a little bit of fuel line, and this thing should almost run. I still got to get a shifter for my buddy. I've been slacking on that too. Been slacking a little bit, but we'll get it together. So get some paint on here and run in town. Like I said, pretty boring day, but here we are. Stick around, it's gonna be cool. Maybe. Found them. Took me 2 stores to go to. Roll King didn't have them, but Orscheln's did. This thing is huge, like normal size paint can. Turbo, baby. Figured we're turboing this 5.3 2 times. We're turboing this paint job, so we're gonna see how it goes. I took that can of paint and kind of just cut in a little bit, I guess, say, like if you were fancy, you know, this thing's gonna spray. It says up to 10-inch wide spray. I'm excited about this because I think we're gonna get some white. They're a little expensive. The white, this was $14.99, 15 bucks. But the regular old Rust-Oleum, you know, the small can that only sprays, you know, maybe freaking 2-inch span, maybe if you're lucky. That's $7.99. So if we could cover 10 inches for an extra $7.99, we're gonna see how this goes. I'm hoping one of these right here will get this whole inside of the car and maybe half of the trunk, but we'll see. If it covers good, we're gonna see. Figured let's try it out on stuff that only me and JT and maybe a couple people that are interested and stick their head in. We'll see before we actually decide if that's what we're gonna go with on the outside. I mean, hell, the outside here, we should only have to buy 2 of these. And if we buy the really expensive stuff, the whites paint, it's like 15 something on Amazon and it's like 20 something in the stores. So really it's not too terrible, but I think it's gonna look good. So we're gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna set this camera up here so you can kind of see, and I think I'm gonna be pretty impressed. I hope I'm impressed. I hope you're impressed. But these freaking turbo cans are something pretty sweet by the videos I've seen. So here we go. I'm gonna see how this thing does. Whoa! Oh, when I bought this, I knew I was a little skeptical of it because it has been used. So, oh, we're cleaning it out. We are cleaning it out. I don't know about you guys, but this thing has got some freaking pressure behind it, honestly. It doesn't cover the best, but we are covering up some really rusty black paint. Like rusty black, or whatever you want to call it. Some real rusty metal. There's one of my patch panels, but maybe the way it looks, maybe 2 coats might be good. Maybe. I mean, that was a pretty big area we just covered right there. You know, that's probably 4 or 5 foot by 3 foot. We covered it in like maybe 10-15 seconds, and this thing's still plenty full. So it's gonna be kind of hard to get this thing covered real good just because of all the rust and stuff. I think it's gonna take quite a bit of paint to seal it up. But there's another patch panel. But once we spray paint this thing black, you'll never see it. By the way, I took these seatbelts out and every single seatbelt bolt came out. I should have probably bought a lottery ticket, but I'm pretty impressed by that. So can't really hold these cans at much of an angle, but it'll be good for painting the outside of the car because we can go pretty well straight on. I'd say we probably got a quarter of a can left and almost the whole floor is done. So it does go by pretty fast, but we've almost painted the whole inside of the car. I mean, everything in here is coming around already. So hopefully we can get it with the rest of this. Oh, might be at too much of an angle. Come on. Well, it's pretty well empty, but kind of impressed. So it almost covered the whole thing. We might have to do another half a coat or so, or maybe just take the little cans and coat the lighter stuff. But I mean, for an old car, it's coming around in here. I mean, we'll put some heat blanket down maybe, or some cheap carpet we got somewhere, or hell, I've got some household carpet backing in there. We just need something to kind of block out the heat, but we might get some like that sticky heat shield, I don't know, exhaust wrap or something like that. They got some, it's like 3M on the back side, but I think we'll be pretty good inside. It's pretty well sealed up. There's a couple little holes, which there's holes from, I guess Dad put a couple different seats in it maybe at one point, or somebody did, or I mean, it's not necessarily sealed the best back there in that corner, nor back there in that corner, but I think once we put, if we put some of that, like, it's like reflective looking, but it's some heat tape, or heat, whatever you want to call it, put some stuff down on the floor, block some heat out, and I think it'll be sealed up pretty good. I mean, there's a couple little holes right there, but nothing major. So I'm gonna paint the rest of this thing. I'm gonna get the engine bay knocked out. I still gotta clean up some of the wiring and knock off some of the bolts and stuff we're not gonna use. I don't know if I'm necessarily gonna block off that, because there's not really a good place to bolt to right there, but I might come up with something and make it like a block off plate maybe. So that might be what we do, but I just wanted to show you guys those turbo cans. Customer review on these turbo cans. I'd give it a solid, well, that was a used can, so I can't really give it, you know, the full 5 stars, but I'd give it 4.5. I'm pretty impressed, but I think, how I said earlier, we might be only to use 2 cans on the whole car. Probably gonna need 3 or 4, so we'll have 70 bucks in a paint job, but 70 bucks in a paint job is a lot better than thousands and thousands if we were to, you know, take it and actually make it a show car. But we're just trying to do some burnouts, so $70 Rust-Oleum paint job might be what we go with. And if we got, you know, this stuff that I bought today was roughly $70, so if we got $140 in painting this car, slowing down some of the rust, I mean, I know it's not going to stop it by no means, but maybe slow it down, give it an extra year. You know, if we give it an extra year for 70 bucks, cool. You know, I'm not 100% worried about it, so here we go. It's not perfect, but it's black. Probably not going to worry about too much of this stuff down here, because we'll probably have to change some of it. It's probably bad because it is old, but I wanted to get a majority of the stuff that, like the inside of the frame rail and underneath there on the cross member, because once we put the engine back in, I hope it's not coming back out. The firewall turned out as good as it's going to be for being as old as it is, but the trunk and the cab came out pretty good too. So that turbo can does not last long, I tell you that, but it looks pretty good in here, not gonna lie. It covered pretty good. I mean, this is 2 coats with that turbo can, but if you don't have a perfectly flat surface and it's not straight, I wouldn't get the turbo can, but it did pretty good for what it needed to be. It's kind of hard to see in here, but it didn't turn out too bad. So I'm black is black. Like I said, we're probably gonna put some carpet wrap or something down on the ground. But it looks pretty good in here, good enough for me. We'll end up having to cut and grind some of it off anyways. I just wanted to get a pretty good coat down so we could start. You know, if we wanted to put seats in here, we can, no big deal. I wanted to cover up some of those patches I put in here just so we know it's sealed. Looks all right. Really, you can't tell in many spots where the patches are besides maybe over there. Down there looks fine. I mean, we're gonna touch up a little bit more on the paint, but other than that, we're pretty much wrapped up. I am gonna get this slid apart. I'm gonna put a clutch in it. I do not have a clutch tool. I have plenty for an NV4500 and stuff like that though, and one for an S10, so I think I can make something work so it's lined up. We'll get this slid together and we'll hopefully set it back in the car, and when we set it back in the car, I'll pull that cross member out under there for the transmission that I made, and I will get that painted. We're gonna try to make some spacer plates down here for the cross member and get everything bolted in solid. So hopefully we can put some wiring harnesses on it, run some fuel lines, and figure out the brakes. I've been looking for a manual brake booster or a manual brake setup for this car, and they're about 200 bucks, which isn't bad for some people, but we're trying to stay cheap, and I can get an original style master cylinder for like 130 bucks, and I don't think we're gonna have any vacuum issues with that engine, so it might be best just to stab the factory. We are going to try to take this pilot bearing out with a little bit of bread. A lot of people don't believe that this works or even know if this works, but I do not have a pilot bearing puller, but I have a couple extra pieces of bread, and Dad's gonna start the puller up and make a whole bunch of noise. So, but here's gonna take a little bit of bread here, gonna slowly curl it up, push as much of it in there as you can. Just slowly keep pushing it in there. Keep pushing it in there. Takes a little while, but it'll work. So, let's clamp. Sit up in here a little bit. If you guys would like to sponsor and lift, I would be totally game for that. This would be a hell of a lot easier job on a lift. But and who buys expensive stainless headers because my magnet won't stick to it. So get set up in here a little bit. Always be willing to learn. Oh wow, there's the thumb. Yeah. And then you just gotta give it a little shake. That's probably gonna blister a little bit, but it's fine. Well, that gave us a little bit more room to stuff a little bit more bread in there. Let the old heartbeat of the thumb cool off. I shove a little more bread up in there. Jesus, that hurt. Whew. We don't need more, but I think we're gonna have to get a little more. So that is pretty much all I have left. I'm gonna pick up the last little crumbs, and hopefully that's what we need to get it out of there. There's not much left for it to come out, but Look at that. Look at that. Just like that, you got yourself a freaking pilot bearing. This thing is now gonna go in the Monte Carlo. This is out of the girlfriend's car, but stuffed a lot of bread in there. One hamburger bun will get you a nice pilot bearing out of the back of an LS motor. So, hamburger bun, pilot bearing. You got it made. So, took a little time, but we learned. We might speed it up so you don't have to listen to me smash my fingers and stuff, but there it is. It's out. I'm gonna pick some of this bread out. We're gonna go put this in that LS motor, baby. Hell yeah. Bearing in there. We can put the flywheel on here, get her old clutch bolted up, be good to go. Bingo! So this clutch is out of the girlfriend's car. It's gotten a little warm a couple times. There's still plenty of friction material left. The springs are good. This is, like I said, got a little warm a couple times. I just want to see if this is good. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, then well, you know we don't need to spend money on a $700 clutch and we should look towards a transmission. So that's where we're at, and that is why I'm doing this. People may ask, that is why I'm doing it. I want to know if this is even good for us to buy a clutch for it. And who knows, it might have to go to LS Fest like this, and this is just a 5.3. It's not going to make near as much power as a cammed 6.2 and LS3. So this thing is fully gutted, so it should be lighter than that 5th gen. So new pilot bearing is in, this clutch, that transmission. If it's good, we're gonna rip. You know, we'll take it out, put a new clutch in it, no big deal. We can also take this bell housing off and put it on there, but I think I might just try to slide everything in together because it's already out of the car. Dad's here, he can help me, but that's what we're gonna do. So have fun watching. I do have some Loctite wherever I set it. I've got some Loctite out. Go ahead and Loctite these bolts, because like I said, you never know if they're gonna have to stay or not. So it's fine. Like that, we've got a clutch on our engine. Pilot bearing trick, put it back in your mind here. She might need it one day. Might be putting a clutch in your son's truck one day, or hell, you might be putting a clutch in your dad's car one day. You never know. That's a good trick. You always make sure you can take this thing after you're done, slide it in and out. Means it's aligned. That means that is going to slide in here. Mint. So if you ever want to know, TR6060 clutch out of a 5th gen Camaro, T56 out of a, this is out of a 04 GTO, or even the F bodies, they all fit, all interchangeable, because GM knows what they're doing. So we got all of this horsepower right here about to go down. I'm gonna get this transmission slid into here, bolted down, stuck back in that car, and we're gonna have fun. So, little educational tips today, just so you know. Sorry we didn't get much footage on putting the engine back in and putting the transmission together. Kind of ran into a couple of issues. I didn't know this, but I do now. Apparently the pilot bearing that we took out of that car was the wrong pilot bearing. On apparently the T56s or whatever, you gotta have a little bit smaller one that goes in a little bit farther, and it was stopping it from going in. So we used the bread again, pulled the pilot bearing back out, and put the other pilot bearing back in here. It bolted right together. So that was an issue on my part. That was my fault, but you live and you learn. So now I know, and I think this clutch is gonna do what we need it to do to test that transmission. So we've been out here working today on this fine, humid, rainy Sunday. We've got some stuff accomplished, and it kind of went smooth and it kind of didn't. So we had some good, some bad, but the old master cylinder right here is off. The new master cylinder and booster is back on. It's bolted up, mounted. I have to get one adapter. This screws right in there, no problem. Sorry. But this screws in there, no problem. This one does not fit in there. So I'll have to get an adapter, which I think if this thing actually had, if it actually had the master on the booster there, if it actually had that on here, we'd probably be fine. It'd probably, the adapter would probably already be there. But this is kind of a cool setup because it's got on both sides where you can put the lines at. So, but I just need to get an adapter, and I had this piece set aside so that it actually fits on there. So I know that I need to go from that thread, this thread right here, to this thread right here. This is just the plug for the other side. So it's kind of fancy, but I'll bring those two pieces with me. I'll know I'll need an adapter from that to that, which is pretty common to see adapters on master cylinders. It's not at all rare, but see this guy right here, it is out, and we do have this bolted up. The old 3 pedals are bolted up, and we have the clutch master in place, but it's not exactly where I want it. But I don't think we're gonna get any better than that, honestly. So it is in there, it is operational. It moves about, I'd say about 4 inches of movement. It works. It's probably not the best, but if you look, we just got a piece of all thread there going to this their master right there, kind of rigged together. I don't know if it's necessarily the best, but I don't think we're going to get any better. We could drill this hole right there, and it's kind of hard to see. We could drill that hole that I had to drill on the factory bracket back farther, but that's not going to get us any more clutch pedal throw because it's not going to go any higher up the pedal. The factory linkage would be about 3 inches higher up on this pedal. It'd be up in there. So let's see if I can get you guys up in there a little bit. But the factory linkage hole is up here, so you know, 2 inches, 3 inches or so higher. But we can't get any higher because we got all this wiring and stuff like that right there. So that was the best place that I thought that I could put it myself. The brakes are hooked up, the sensor works, this is all adjusted, like this is moving everything, so that is fine and it'll probably work great. I mean, the throttle pedal is it's gonna sit right there, so I mean, it's not like it's in a horrible place, but that clutch pedal is just not ideal. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. We can still go with what we got. I think we'll be all right. I'm not 100% sure on what we got going on. There's a lot of stuff going through my big old watermelon head right now, but I don't know. It's a lot, but I think either way we're gonna make it happen. Kind of. We're very close, but yet so far away. But I will get this fitting. Might make this the end of the video. We might do a little bit more, but I will get this fitting. We'll try to get the brakes bled, get the car up in the air. We got to get the fuel tank out. There's lots of work to be done, and we just need a little bit more time. And I honestly think we'll be able to get it somewhat put together. We got lots of cool footage coming. We've got multiple different events we've attended. So we're trying to do all this, and we're trying to build this. We're trying to get you guys as much stuff we can. I mean, it's a crazy world right now. We're working like crazy. We're coming home working like crazy. It's 100 degrees. No excuse, but we're trying. That's all that matters. So I'm satisfied with that. We're trying. We're getting there. So it's a lot of work, but we're gonna make it happen. This is kind of a lot of talking, but I think you guys will appreciate actually hearing what we got to say and where we're at. I know we haven't done physically much work since then. We have, like I said, we got everything painted. It's looking good. We just need to get the couple major things out of the way. So we're working, you're working, we're all working. We're living the American dream, I guess to say. So we'll get there. We'll get there. It's gonna take some time. We'll try to get some footage up and go from there. But I'm gonna head in for the night. I'm gonna get a fitting tomorrow, maybe be back out here Monday or Tuesday night, and hopefully get some more stuff knocked out on this thing. We'll see how it goes, see when I get off work. It's kind of a player's game, so we'll see. Stick with us, it'll be fun.